The word thing, quite a interesting word. If you remember back to a television series that came out in the 60s, it was called The Addams Family. Very uniquely, they were quite the morbid family, kind of revolving around darkness and death, uh, with a little bit of satire humor mixed in. But when you remember, there was a character that was in the series The Thing, in the comedy, and it was a hand that kept on coming out of a box that would do some tasks, bring things and do things, always giving a hand to that morbid dead world of the Addams family. Well, if you look symbolically, what the Adam brought to his family, to the earth, was sin and death. It said, through one man's sin entered into the world, and death through sin. So uniquely, we do a little bit of research on the word thing, and I'm going to bring you to the College Webster's on thing, and it starts off that it's in its etymology, it's council, court, controversy, public assembly, subject, discussion, or matter. Very interesting. And then bringing in to stretch and period of time. I don't think we've ever really looked at that in that sense. We don't really go that far in our research because we've never been trained or taught or educated to do that. And that's why I hope that through the journey watching Christian Remedy and Law, and also going to our website, christianremedyandlaw.org, you're going to get a better education, and actually, hopefully, it'll open your mind to get rid of the bad and bring in the good, because many things that we've allowed to enter our temple have contaminated that beautiful temple that God has given us to take in good and pure knowledge. So we need to discard the bad, and there's a lot of bad out there, and there is a lot of falsehood that is floating around the worldwide web of deceit of Satan. So under renunciation, it has giving up the right to do something, showed up in a Strong's Concordance that had a number of subject matters at the back. So it depends on the Strong's you may have, but this one dealt with many subject matters, and I believe it was the topical index to the Bible. So it just went down various subject matters, from names of individuals in the Bible to categories of subject, of course. So renunciation, that term in itself, shows up as giving up the right to do something, and then it quotes the following scriptures, and it puts true discipleship based on the blessings of, and it quotes Luke 14:33, Mark 10:28 to 33 or 31, and Luke 18:28 to 30. Uniquely, that is under renunciation. Now, Jesus said you had to forsake all in order to be his disciple. That was all, everything that's in the collective, the all. What is in the all? It is what is common. So that would be the thing in dispute. When you look at Galatians chapter 6, verse 3, Paul stated in that, and he was well versed in the Roman civil law fiction, he said, if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he's not a thing, he deceiveth himself. So it appears they have a thing in dispute. Jesus said you had to forsake all. Well, maybe it would relate to all legal things. So we take a very strong look and do a little bit of research even into Black's Law Fourth, and we will find that things are the objects of dominion or property. Isn't that interesting? The object of a right, well, we'd have to be dealing with legal rights when we're dealing with legal subject matter. And when the state is drawing the line between what is theirs, which is not yours, and you may be claiming it because your parents thought they could claim it, they made an assumption and a presumption that they had right to something. But mere belief is not title. Mere claim is not title. So they underlined all the surnames as an error based on what was being claimed there. So it did not belong to them. And so the state drew the line. People think that's a go ahead to actually claim the title. This was actually a rendering back of the title that the parents may have thought they had. So when we go and act on the foundation identity documents, not to be confused with the statement of birth record that the parents had filled out, this document is acting on a pseudo or an error. And therefore, be careful when you walk in error or what you assume, because assumption is not proof of any title at all. It's just basically your belief, and you may be convicted by a false belief, and you may need to start to rethink this in order to get through this. In fact, you'll have to rethink this to get through it. So these documents do not give any patent right. Any document or note or invention that is a patent, which the state has issued, clearly must have written across its face, given for patent right. Now, none of these have it worldwide. None of the birth records have that. So in the absence of those words not being on the patent, there is no patent right. So have you deceived yourself? Have you been induced into a deception? Well, that's something for you to take to heart. You're going to need to ask these questions. You're the one on this journey. So it's time to start to clean out that temple of that you have contained with false knowledge and start feeding it with the knowledge of God. Start doing your due diligence. Read the scriptures daily.